6:15 in the morning of the first day of the big trip. Yesterday I rode down to Folkestone from Newcastle. Didn't bother filming any of it because nobody needs to see me riding on a motorway for 7 hours. And I'd get the Eurotunnel in a couple of hours, so pack up my tent and then get going. So this is it, the beginning of the big trip. Gonna go stick some fuel in now, and then onto the Eurotunnel. Just like that, I'm in France. Now when I set out on this trip, I had grand designs of it being like a long way round trip. I was going to have total freedom, I was going to go through interesting places and meet new people. And that did happen, but it didn't happen in the way that I thought it was going to happen. And we'll sort of talk about that a little bit later on. Made a bit of an error coming out of the Eurotunnel. I just started to head east with the idea that I was just going to work it out on the way. I head towards Belgium. I know that I want to sleep somewhere in the Ardennes region tonight. So after a couple of hours of riding on motorways, I realised that I'd went way too far. I needed to double back on myself to get to where I wanted to stay that night. So that's what I did. And I ended up in this lovely small town. But something that I manage to do every time I go to Europe, I forget that a Sunday most things are closed. So after about 45 minutes of walking around this little town trying to find something to eat and something to drink, I just decided it's time to get back on the bike and head towards a campsite for the night. And that's where some of the problems started.
so I've encountered the first sort of problem on the trip. Two things have happened at the same time. So the charger for the quad lock, this, won't charge the phone, which is a bit of an issue. And I've realised that I've left my spare batteries for the DJI camera in Calais. Also bad, because I'm not in Calais anymore. I'm quite far away. I'm in the Ardennes National Park, which is lovely, to be fair. You can see the view there is pretty gorgeous. So I think I've found out how I can solve the problem with the quad lock. So luckily I bought the quad lock with the auxiliary sort of, sorry, I'm spinning it around again, with this little thing on it here, which just goes to a USB. So I think if I unplug the let me take these off. I think if I unplug the quad lock charger and just use it as a mount, and then just plug a USB into that sort of port, and then just use a switch on there, hopefully that'll solve that issue. But yeah, as for the DJI batteries, I don't know what I'm going to do there. Probably maybe find an electrical shop on the way, see if I can get some more. It'd be quite difficult trying to film 2 weeks worth of videos with one battery. That would be a nightmare. So I do have some like external battery packs, like portable charging brick things that I've been using since the quad locks died, but they're both dead now, and there isn't any plugs here in this campsite that I can use. So yeah, I'm gonna have to try and sort that out with the bike. My phone's on like 5%, but yeah, let's just see what happens.
So fortunately, through this process of trying to sort out the quad lock charger, I realised that it was actually just a loose wire that was stopping the phone from charging. So thankfully, quite an easy fix there. Now, I think I was more tired than I realised at this point, because watching this footage back, it took me so long to set this tent up. I've been using this tent for years, and I've done plenty of camping trips in it. But for some reason, I just couldn't work out where to put it, and the order in which I was trying to set it up is just madness. But anyway, after setting up the tent and getting everything sorted, had a little walk around, and then it was just time to put my head down for the night. So the plan for the day was to head towards Dijon, which is about 5 hours ride from where I stayed. I didn't want to get caught out this time, so I filled up and I packed some food just in case, and tried to avoid motorways like the plague. So I think it's quite important on these trips to sort of check in at the end of every day and work out the things that are working and the things that aren't. And obviously a big glaring problem yesterday was that I just hadn't planned enough in advance. So the day ended up becoming a bit of a mess. You know, you're not going to get everything right first time. scale of what I have planned is starting to set in. After a light bit of planning the night before in the tent, starting to realise that to get to Como in the time frame that I have, I need to start doing some pretty hefty days on the bike. Now, I've done big days on a motorcycle before, but never for this many days consecutively. But here we are. I suppose the framing of the trip has changed a little bit, but the goal is still the same. I just want to have as much fun on a bike around Europe as possible. And once you discover the D roads in France, you realise that it's pretty easy to have a good time. It actually made me wish that I'd bought a drone on this trip, but I don't have one. Maybe it's a purchase for another time. And with that, we come to the end of day 2. I'm feeling pretty beat at this point, but very content. I've had such an amazing day riding some really, really incredible roads through France, and I feel like I've started to see the real adventure on this trip. But it's time to set up my tent, find some food and a cold beer. Over the border into France, and the road's closed. The alternative for me today was to go down a very, very sketchy looking dirt track. I may or may not get fined. Yeah, it's been a bit of a day.